Update, brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio's Update with Andy Wint.
Pastor Mai, good evening. It's 5:30. This is Update for Bastille Day, Friday, 14th of July, 2023 from Manx Radio. 30 minutes to look at the latest news on the Isle of Man and background to that news with sport and business and Sea Watch and travel updates. And the newsmakers in person this evening. Nurses of the RCN Union are going on strike. The shortage of driving instructors goes on. Dog bites postman is no joke. Verbal abuse of Manx care staff will get you reported. And the latest from the last day of the Island Games.
Man Benham for all your business and legal needs.
First of all, at 29 minutes ahead of 6 o'clock, the Update News headlines. Fastamai, Chanel Suku.
Fastamai. Some of the island's nurses will take strike action later this month after voting in support of a walkout. Members of the Royal College of Nursing will walk out from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. on Tuesday, the 25th of July. This year's Port Erin Beach Festival has been postponed due to the weekend's weather forecast. Deep South Music Festival has also been postponed tonight and tomorrow. And there's calls for new laws to help protect postal workers from dog attacks and give police more powers to prosecute owners. In international news, almost 1,000 workers at Gatwick Airport will go on strike over pay during the peak of the summer holidays. Check-in staff, baggage handlers and other members of Unite will begin 2 4-day walkouts on the 28th of July and again on the 4th of August. Around 1 in 7 renters say they've run out of food in the past 2 weeks and haven't been able to afford more. According to the Office for National Statistics, that figure's even higher among adults living in a household with at least one dependent child. And Manchester United have been fined just over £250,000 by UEFA for breaching financial fair play rules. Those were your headlines. News at 6.
Man Benham. Contact us by phone, video call, email or face-to-face. We're happy to connect with you. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Karamaya, thank you. Chanel from the Ronaldsway Met Office. There is a strong wind warning in operation for the North Irish Sea. State of sea, moderate or rough if you're on the boat tonight. Fingers crossed. A strong southeasterly will bring some showers. That should clear later for a drier evening, then some showers back overnight on a strong southerly. Minimum overnight is 11 degrees. For Jasan, tomorrow showery morning, a wet afternoon, then isolated showers in the evening, all on a fresh to strong wind coming in from the south. Daylight maximums 18 degrees, down to 13 through the night. Into Jaduni, sunny on Sunday. For sunny intervals, occasional showers on a fresh to strong westerly, which will dissipate later. Top temperature 18 Celsius. Sunsets tonight at 9:45, high tide 26 minutes past 10, low water 12 minutes to 5 tomorrow morning, sunrise 4 minutes past 5, high water is 24 minutes to 11 tomorrow morning. Loganair Manchester flights delayed and EasyJet Manchester's cancelled tonight.
Manx Glass and Glazing can produce bespoke splashbacks for your kitchen in any colours. Speak to the team on 674 573.
Patients could be reported to police if they're verbally abusive to Manx care staff. Previously, the boards only reported those who physically harmed healthcare workers, but Primary Care Medical Director Dr. Oliver Ellis says it's important to clearly define what is classed as abuse.
To speak about the violence and aggression towards staff, which was raised, which is obviously a very serious issue, and I think it feeds into the kind of the culture and the workforce and how staff feel about the organisation. Is one of the key features is how, not so much when things are good, but when things are bad, when things are challenging, how well supported they feel. And looking at what's obviously there's more detail behind it, but looking at sort of verbal abuse and harassment will be captured and reported to police. But it's not completely clear, I think, when you're a staff member on the ground. Is that harassment? is that abuse? Is that unacceptable, or is that acceptable? And I think for a lot of patients and relatives who are in stressful situations, that line is not always clear as well. And I wonder if there's a piece not just about something that's to be said, not just about when things are to be reported to the police, but defining what that is very clearly so that everybody knows what that is, and having something that we as staff and as the members of the public can point to and understand and say, well, this clearly doesn't meet that threshold or does meet that threshold.
Around the Isle of Man this week, you may have noticed leaflets being distributed by Post Office regarding dog awareness. Now, you've been asked to take measures to prevent incidents such as ensuring that your dog is safely out of the way before a postal worker arrives, or having a box away from the door for items to be posted into. From the Communication Workers Union, Pete Chandler.
Taking into account that this week we've been delivering these leaflets, one of our post members actually attacked while he was delivering it. So it is an actual issue, but it's not just that. It's not just postmen. It's every delivery person. You've got young kids that go with the couriers to people's houses, and they're getting bit as well. It is a serious issue. We've got postmen. There's one of them I was talking to this morning because I asked him before I come up here, and he can't play his guitar anymore outside the work. I know it sounds silly, but his thumb doesn't work anymore because he was attacked by a dog. And people think it's funny when they're attacked, postmen. It's always a caricature, isn't it, of, they always say a postman getting chased by a dog, but it is a serious issue, so hence why we've put these out.
It's more about awareness. I mean, most owners do know when a courier or a postman, whoever it is, are coming, roughly. So it's just being aware of that time. And the best phrase I ever heard, and I used to go out on the duties myself, was, it's very friendly, it won't bite, but they're very territorial. And so as soon as you touch anything of the property or hand a letter to the customer or whatever it might be, they'll see that as a threat, and then they'll jump at you. So it's customers need to be aware of that despite how friendly they think their dog is, when it comes to somebody else coming onto their property, they can change completely. If they know they've got a dog that's going to be out and about, and it does tend to be during this time of year that they're out even more so, is put a redirection in possibly where we can deliver to the neighbour. There's other things we can do for the customer if they want to contact.
Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates.
There's been a flurry of medals for Team Isle of Man on the final day of the Island Games today in Guernsey. Manx Radio's sports editor Rob Pritchard is on the spot.
There was triple gold for the Isle of Man in the half marathons this morning as Rachel Franklin and Corin Leeming won the women's and men's events, and the Manx men took the team gold too. The Manx women won silver as well. I spoke to race winners Rachel Franklin and Corin Leeming.
Did not expect it at all. I was just going in just to help my teammate, just hopefully to get a team medal, so I'm speechless with the gold.
It was quite a nervous start because obviously it was quite a big field out this morning, and obviously we were straight about 100 metres into a narrow section, so the start was a bit chaotic because obviously everybody needed to be there and in position straight away. But after that it started to calm down. I think a group of 5 of us got away about 2 kilometres in.
There was also badminton gold for Team Isle of Man today as Jessley and Kim Clegg beat Bjarnhild Bud Justinason and Sanna Torkil Show of the Faroe Islands in straight sets. Jessley's also won a silver today in the women's badminton singles. In tennis, Karen Farragher and Sarah Long got silver in the women's doubles. In shooting, Nicholas Mihailovic won silver in the English skeet. He was tied for first place but missed out on gold in the sudden death shoot-off. There were bronze shooting medals as well today for Catherine Holden in the women's 10-metre air pistol event and Robert Watterson in the men's individual ball trap. In cycling, the men's team took the silver medal for the road circuit criterium, with fastest Manxman Will Draper finishing 4th. In football, the Manx women's team won their bronze medal match against Menorca 3-1. And over on the athletics track, there were more medals for Team Isle of Man, with the men's and women's 4x100 metre relay teams each taking bronze. All of today is leading to the final act of the Games, the closing ceremony, which will take place at Footslane Stadium at 8 p.m. tonight.
The shortage of availability of driving lessons across the Isle of Man continues to hinder those with hopes to learn to drive. Man in Line was at Ballacameen High School today, and these students had their say.
I passed my theory test in April, and then since that moment I have been searching for an instructor, and it came out to be impossible because me and my mother activated ourselves and emailed and called every instructor on the island that the government got on their website. And then nearly all of the 5 ones which responded with something of the sort: we got longer list than 24 months. We cannot put you on our waiting list, but if you want, you can try after that. And then we asked around, and it came across that due to the COVID, many instructors have actually dropped it because they were privately run, which would mean that my theory would have expired and I need to pay the £36 to go with it again and study it again and everything.
Well, I had to be signed up since I was 14. I signed up to driving lessons on my 14th birthday. I only managed to get into them because my instructor was my sister's ex's father.
I will say that this stipulus that a lot of the driving instructors are difficult to get a hold of is definitely correct, because for the most part a lot of them are fully booked, and even if you do manage to get someone to give you lessons, a lot of the time you will have difficulties with cancellations because people who are closer to the test will get priority over you, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing because it's important to get as many people passing as possible. But on a similar note, it makes it very difficult for people at the entry level to begin the experience of learning.
Sea-Watch with the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company.
Mothership Ben McCree departed Heysham at 24 minutes to 3. She'll be into Douglas in the next 40 minutes or so. On the link span, departing at 7:45, arriving in Heysham at 11:30 tonight. The overnight departure 2:15, and back to Douglas at 6 tomorrow morning. The Fastcraft left Douglas at 7 minutes past 4. Manannan will be in Liverpool just before 7 o'clock this evening, leaving Liverpool at 7:45 and back to Douglas tonight at 10:30. But the Irish is fairly lumpy tonight. Tomorrow morning's departure, 7:15, high-speed craft Manannan to Liverpool, 8:45, Ben McCree to Heysham.
Like the Steam Packet on Facebook for the latest sailing information.
A Santon woman who continued dealing drugs despite being handed a suspended prison sentence has been jailed for 30 months. Manx Radio's Tessa Hawley was at Douglas Courthouse.
Megan Louise Fielden was told she'd committed a blatant, flagrant breach of a court order imposed in March last year during sentencing at Douglas Courthouse today. The 26-year-old was arrested a month later in April after police went to her property on an unrelated matter. They smelt cannabis and carried out a search. Almost 180 grams of the Class B substance was recovered, the majority being hidden in 2 Tupperware containers behind the kickboards in the kitchen. It had a street value of £3,590. Scales, small bags and £775 of cash was also found, and Fielden's phone was later seized and interrogated. Messages showed that between the 1st of October 2021 and the 4th of July 2022, she'd been concerned in the supply of cannabis to others. The prosecutor told the court that Fielden was supplying cannabis as part of a larger group operation and was not a bottom-of-the-ladder supplier. Messages showed threats of enforcement, requests for payment in UK banknotes, and correspondence showing that others would graft for her in order to work off debt. Fielden's advocate said her client had continued to offend to clear her own drug debt so that she could free herself from the murky world of drug dealing. This is somebody who's got into this situation because they have an addiction, she added, asking Deemster Graham Cook to consider imposing another suspended sentence. Addressing Fielden, Deemster Cook said he was aware she had 3 very young and vulnerable children, but said within weeks of her last sentence she'd offended again. That was a choice you made, he told her, adding that suspending any sentence would send out completely the wrong message.
Manx Radio Business Briefing.
At 16 minutes before 6, the construction company Galliford Try said today its building business has got a boost. It's been appointed by St Martin's Property Investments to undertake a £72 million remodelling and refurbishment of Adelaide House in central London. The works consist of remodelling the 9-storey Grade 2 listed building adjacent to London Bridge to a Category 3A office standard, as well as reconfiguration and enhancement works to external areas, including the roof and riverside garden. For a full daily market report, go to ramseycrookall.com.
The Stock Market Report, brought to you by Ramsey Crookall.
UK and European stock markets were mixed after a positive week of trading. The dollar hovered near a 15-month low. Brent crude prices fell and gold edged lower. The numbers now from Ramsey Crookall. At the close in London, the FTSE 100 was fractionally down, almost down 0.1% at 7,434. The DAX in Frankfurt closed down 0.2% at 16,107. A short time ago in New York City, the Dow Jones Industrial Index up just over 0.3% at 34,516. The Nasdaq Tech Stocks Index up 0.4% at 14,193, and the S&P 500 in Chicago up 0.2% at 4,519. In the exchange markets, the British pound sterling trading at $1 31 cents, €1 16.6 cents, and 23 South African rand 72.3 cents. In commodities, gold's down just over 0.1% at $1,958 per troy ounce, and a barrel of Brent crude down 1 6/10% at $80.18.
You've got an investment plan?
Yeah, Mike set it up.
But don't you need loads of money to do that?
Not this one. It's called Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, and you pay in monthly as little as £100. So it's like saving regularly, really helping us invest in the future for a house, or the kids' education.
£100 a month? I could easily do that.
You should. The sooner you start, the better.
Invest in your future with as little as £100 a month. Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, the island's investment specialist for 75 years. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Isle of Man Water Sports. Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Here's the relevant information. If you're sailing, kayaking, windsurfing, paddleboarding, sea swimming, diving or surfing this weekend, sea temperature 15 degrees Celsius, and the wind for tomorrow, Saturday the 15th, south or southwesterly, force 5 or 6, becoming cyclonic 3 to 5 during the afternoon, settling west or southwesterly 5 to 6. During the evening, wave height 2 to 2.5 metres, becoming 1.5 to 2 metres. Wave period 6 seconds. High tides 10:36 a.m, 11:15 p.m. And Sunday, the wind westerly or southwesterly, force 5 or 6, decreasing 4 to 5. Wave height 1.5 to 2 metres, becoming 1 to 1.5 metres. Wave period 6 seconds, becoming 4 seconds. And high tides 11:26 a.m, 11:56 p.m.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate. Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300.
Douglas Council's agreed to install a wheelchair accessible roundabout in Nobles Park, which is expected to cost the local authority £12,500. Councillor Andrew Bentley says it hopes to include more inclusive play equipment in the future.
Well, it was originally put forward by one of the councillors that why can't we have an accessible swing? The problem with the swing was it kind of needed to have a degree of attendance, and in itself was quite exclusive in that the wheelchair was the defining factor of it, whereas the roundabout, it was felt that that's available to everybody and it doesn't need any sort of special gate on it or any sort of access control. So this is very much part of our policy anyway, that we're wanting to make our play spaces more and more inclusive. It was felt that Nobles Park was a good neutral space right in the centre of Douglas, where we could create disabled parking spaces as well, blue badge parking spaces as well, which were on a level that would allow access easily for such families. We're hoping that we can, certainly that's the will of the committee, that we can develop this with further pieces of equipment. We are under budget constraints at the moment, so bit by bit, but hopefully we'll have a good playground there. And then of course the playground on Loch Promenade, when that's done over the next couple of years, that should be a very inclusive environment as well. It's about making the spaces more inclusive, but also it's that change from risk aversion to risk benefit, which meant that some of these spaces are going to be a little bit more challenging as well, so that a bit more inspiring.
Manx Radio Sport.
Fast am I, Rhiann Evans.
Fast am I. Very good afternoon to you. Starting in gymnastics, the Isle of Man gymnastics squad's hand luggage will have been a lot heavier on the journey back from Orland as they returned home with a whopping 67 medals from the Gymnastics Inter-Island Games. Golden boy in the juniors was Josh Clarkson, who, aside from his team medal, won a total of 10 golds and 2 bronze. He was followed by Max Kearney with 2 golds, 4 silvers and 4 bronze. In the junior girls, Alice Tear finished with 2 golds and 2 silver. Lacey Jackson took 1 gold, 3 silver and 1 bronze. Georgia Price led the way for the senior girls, winning the prestigious FIG all-around competition, collecting 4 gold medals, 1 silver and 2 bronze. Harry Ayres was man of the match in the boys FIG, gaining a silver on floor and bronze in the high bar, and Ewan McIlwraith got a bronze medal on rings. In a statement on their Facebook page, Isle of Man Gymnastics says the future is looking very bright for Orkney in 2 years' time, where gymnastics will be included in the 2025 Island Games. And in hockey, Sienna Dunn's under-18s England side is a step closer to the Euro under-18s hockey finals. Yesterday, England had to win against an unbeaten Spain team and hope the Netherlands didn't score more than 8 goals. After a fantastic battle, Dunn's side came out with a win over Spain 2-1 with a goal in the last 3 minutes. The squad then had to wait with bated breath until the Netherlands game finished. Their result fell in England's favour though. Netherlands took the win but didn't score enough goals and are now out of the competition. England now play Belgium tomorrow for a place in the final.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
At Ronaldsway, the 5 o'clock EasyJet inbound from Liverpool landed just 10 minutes ago. The 5:25 Loganair from Manchester coming in just about now as well, slightly late. The 5:30 EasyJet from Manchester inbound has been cancelled. After that, it's the 5:08 Loganair from Liverpool, then the 8:20 Loganair from London City, and the 8:30 EasyJet from Gatwick, all showing on time. Outbound, the 5:20 Loganair to Edinburgh won't be going out until 6 o'clock. The 5:30 EasyJet to Liverpool delayed till 6:05, and the 6 o'clock EasyJet to Manchester has been cancelled because it didn't come in. The Loganair patient transfers 6 o'clock to Liverpool on time, and then it's the 9 o'clock EasyJet back to Gatwick, currently showing on time. Groudle Road in Onken is closed between Harbour Road and Fairway Close for gas upgrade work. The traffic lights on Estelle Road should be wrapped up by now, if not by the end of the weekend, for the work on the pavements. In Foxdale, Garth Road between Tosselby Road and the Foxdale Road for bridge replacement work. They got some lights there. And in Peel, East Quays closed between the House of Manannan and the Road Bridge for work on the pavements. Ballymena Road, Jervis got phase closures for water main replacement. Temporary lights in Douglas on Victoria Road at the Falconcliffe Terrace Junction for water main work. And in Baldrine, Packhorse Lanes closed for resurfacing.
H&H Motorcycles.im for all your motorcycle requirements. Southgate Industrial Estate, opposite Quayside Tyres. Call 665646.
A representative of the equity unions on the Isle of Man to meet Manx performers and artists. The trade union's national officer says, whether they're members or not, it's important to get an understanding of how the industry here is faring. Alice Adams-Lemon spoke to Manx Radio.
I talked with a number of members last night, and it was absolutely fantastic to meet them. As I say, there are people who represented a variety of different forms of artistic work who I met. And the concerns that they raised, although to be honest with you, there was an overwhelming positive view of the welcome that is here for artists on the island. But the concerns that they raised were similar to many of the concerns raised by our members across the United Kingdom, Northern Ireland, etc., which are simple things like making sure that the sector is professional, that professional performers are paid appropriately, that there are opportunities for performers to work locally, but also that there are opportunities for performers to get out and about and work in other locations as well. The health of the industry here, and I understand there has been a change, so people refer to variety acts, the cabaret scene, for example, and of course I know that there was a lot of activity in the film work a number of years ago. So I know that there are, as everywhere, concerns about opportunities for artists, but I met a warm, friendly, happy group of members who are looking forward to the opportunities that we can develop together for artists here in the island. So I'm looking forward to working with them. There are some ideas that we have just to make sure that our community is a bit better supported here, that members and those who might be coming to membership or those who just might be interested in what Equity and other performers unions have to offer are just aware of us.
This is the most listened to Isle of Man news source, and Manx Radio's Update is the Isle of Man's most downloaded news podcast.
Fast tonight, 5 to 6. Some of the Isle of Man's nurses will take strike action later this month after voting in support of a walkout. Members of the RCN, the Royal College of Nursing Union, will walk out from 8 till 8 a week next Tuesday, the 25th of July. Inflationary pressures on households and businesses affecting a small number of people, but in a massive way, according to Jason Morehouse, MHK. Government continues to make clear there's no scope for additional support, but with the DOI requesting a further £10 million for an already hugely over-budget ferry terminal in Liverpool, Mr. Morehouse was asked if that would anger those struggling.
It comes back to the them and us situation, and this government seems to have that recurring issue that they are working in isolation, they're working for the good of the people. We're going to see all these things in the future, but day to day there are so many ongoing challenges, and rising interest rates are just one of those concerns. They're affecting homeowners at the moment, but there's a really large chance that in the near future people who are actually renting property are going to experience a sudden increase in their rent just to actually help deal with this situation. And given the number of people who are struggling in rented accommodation at the moment to find the money to pay their rent and everything else, this is a really concerning situation. Again, on Tuesday, I'm hoping the Minister will give us the confidence this is being looked at and considered, because interest rates may rise again once, twice, even more in the next few months, and at the moment people are really struggling in their existing position. And when the government's coming back for large sums of money to deal with things that should have been resolved many months ago, people are saying, what's actually happening here?
That's it for Update tonight, compiled from the resources of Manx Radio's news department. Thanks to newsreader Chanel Soku, producer Rhiann Evans. Remember to like Manx Radio on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you use Twitter or LinkedIn, follow Manx Radio and the podcast just pop up. After the news at 6 o'clock, Mike Reynolds is here with the greatest hits, How He Came with some sweet and swing jazz at 9, and Rhiann back with a late show after hours at 10. I'm Andy Wint, back with Update on Monday at 5:30.
WIN